Hello and welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to celebrate the glorious conjunction between Venus and Jupiter, which becomes exact in the sign of Aries on the 2nd of March. In traditional astrology, these are known as the benefics. Jupiter the greater, Venus the lesser. So the two planets of fortune, essentially. What does this mean? Because Venus is technically debilitated in Aries. How long will the impact of this influence last? What can we expect collectively? Are there other planetary influences informing this event? There are 3 very important other things to share with you. Also, what's the myth behind Venus and Jupiter? Keen to share that with you. And what do the event charts say? Solar, in terms of looking at it collectively, but also natal through Placidus. What house are Venus and Jupiter in? Because it's really interesting which it is. So lots to share with you, along with your Zodiac forecast for this event, from Aries through to Pisces, which you can view in terms of your sun or your ascendant. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, it's great to have you with me once more. If you're new here, welcome. Please comment, interact. I answer each one. This is very much a community, and please like and subscribe. And if you would like to deepen your personal understanding of astrology, you can benefit from ordering your life roadmap report. If you give me 3 pieces of personal data, your time, date and place of birth, your life roadmap helps you to get a much more intimate relationship with your nativity, what you were given at birth, but how the patterns from that have been playing out ever since, perhaps even some of the more challenging ones, and how can you seize on the opportunities that you have more firmly. Also, within my special package, you can get your 12-month personal forecast. Please see the link below for more. There's 30% off with my special offer. So Venus and Jupiter come together in an exact conjunction on the 2nd of March at 5:35 a.m. Universal Central Time. However, the influence builds from the 27th of February, finally peaking on the 4th of March. So it's a real window of opportunity. And in the second decan, as they are, a decan is a 10-degree segment of each of the 30 degrees for each sign. So the first 10 degrees of Aries is governed by its ruler, Mars. The second 10 degrees, where this event lies, is governed by the sun. So extra warmth is pouring into this event. When did the last one happen? Well, that was the 30th of April last year, when Venus conjuncted with Jupiter, but also Neptune. So the 2 rulers of Pisces, either side of the lovely Venus. Next year, well, it happens on the 22nd of May in Taurus. So generally, this is a once a year event. Now, in terms of what does this influence mean for us collectively? Well, if people have this in their natal chart, they've probably got a very warm nature, a person that would have a good appreciation of generosity, a person who may help good causes, perhaps through donations, perhaps through good deeds, but it's probably a person who will have a fine appreciation of the good things in life, whether it's calorific goodies or fine wines. But also it could be a more sensual appreciation. Of course, Venus is very much about love and relating through its rulership of Libra, but through its rulership of Taurus, it's much more sensual. So this is about our values, our self-worth, everyday money, but also those earthy pleasures. So we put these two together, the lesser benefic with Venus, the greater benefic with Jupiter. Now in myth, Jupiter is Venus's father, And if you'd like to know more about these two planets, you can download your free PDF booklet by seeing the link beneath this video. So the other thing to point out is that Venus is in detriment in the sign of Aries, but I like Venus in Aries because it gives people a lot of desire, and the fire energy of the sign of Aries, desire to go for what they want. So desire is important. Money is important to us all, and remember, Venus governs that too. So whether it's around a relationship or around loot, this combination with Jupiter in the mix gives Venus more encouragement. So it's quite a dramatic influence in Aries anyway. So Jupiter and that subdecan of the Sun just firing up Venus even more. So it's possible that some really good news could unfold around money or around a love relationship, or you could just enjoy a really lovely meal or connection with someone. But if there is some serendipity that falls for you, that is definitely something to celebrate. But equally, if you're going through a particularly difficult time with your health or your finances because perhaps your job has changed due to the crunch that we're experiencing, I don't want to trivialize this aspect. So it can be definitely very helpful. And our desire to be drawn towards anything that is beautiful, very Venusian through both Taurus and Libra, but also anything that we can use our personal skills to create an alchemy to improve. So if we do take our resources and in some ways make things better through using imagination, drive, flair, creativity, artistry, all of these things can really be given extra support. There's a sense of bountifulness that comes up. You may also, even if you have been struggling, feel a bit stronger with this particular situation. If you are looking to meet someone or you're going out on a date through the 27th to the 4th of March, it could be very helpful, this aspect. Of course, you've got to meet somebody that you like. That's the critical part of the formula. But if you do, then it could be, at the very least, a very upbeat and jovial occasion. Now, it's also important that if you are looking to repivot in terms of your changing circumstances around finances, to be aware that Mercury is conjunct Saturn today as well in the sign of Aquarius, and that really applies a cooler, more detached and logical take on the bubbliness that comes from Venus and Jupiter. So, if we are tempted to do something quite impulsively, which would be possible in the sign of Aries, I think that's going to be a tempering influence. Now, on the screen now, I'm sharing the solar chart wheel. This helps us to relate to this event starting at 0 degrees Aries, the vernal point, and therefore Venus and Jupiter are in house 1. And that makes sense for us all. And you can see that Chiron, the wounded healer, is very close to them. So very much a conjunction. So even if you have been feeling a little bit below par, I feel that there can be some act of kindness or someone's thoughtfulness that can buoy you up. But you can also see that the moon in its home sign of Cancer is actually in a square of 90 degrees. Now, squares are usually quite tension creating. But if there's ever a square to have, it is between a conjunction between Venus and Jupiter and the moon. So it just suggests that we could be extremely loving, affectionate and kind to someone that we really care about today. But also the Sun in Pisces is forging a semi-sextile to Venus, Jupiter and Chiron. And that's really interesting because Venus is actually exalted in the sign of Pisces. So you kind of get a mutual receptiveness there. And of course Jupiter rules the sign of Pisces as its traditional ruler, as well as being its more famous rulership, if you like, of Sagittarius. So I think that's very supportive. And then for me, that suggests that things that have been going on behind the scenes can still have a positive outcome. But also, because Venus and Jupiter are in house 1, maybe something we've been thinking about for some while, we can now manifest into something more substantive that will start to gain traction. But what about the Placidus swirl? So based on Universal Central Time, this event occurs at 5:35 a.m. and the ascendant, you can see, is in the sign of Aquarius. So, very dry, cool, imaginative, progressive, a big focus on friendship. So even if you don't have a romantic situation at the moment, I think the combination between Mercury and Saturn is going to help quite a few of us to work out who is really firmly in our camp or not. So this is interesting. So there could be a change of focus away from a pre-existing friendship or involvement towards somebody new if we don't feel the long-term future is really going to be to our advantage. But the big takeout, I feel, is just that Venus and Jupiter are in house 2 in this natal event chart, and that obviously is very much in keeping with the energies of Taurus. So whatever our circumstances, the one thing we can enjoy with some certainty today is good food, and perhaps raising a nice glass of water, or if you prefer a really nice cordial, a non-alcoholic cordial, why not? The one thing I would say about Venus and Jupiter being in house 2 on the event chart is that if you did commit to a diet at the turn of the year with your New Year's resolution, it could come under serious challenge at this time, as your temptation will be very high and your resistance very low. So now I'm going to go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect. Well, for you, Aries, you're at your absolute best when you don't think about things too much. You just get an instinct and go for it. And that's why Venus in Aries is such a lovely influence in a way. I think it's important to challenge the detriments. Mercury and Sagittarius, people have issues with that. I can see how that can work. It's not always good to just follow how things always were in historical astrology, simply because times have changed so much. We live in such a different kind of world. So, Venus conjunct Jupiter in your own sign suggests you taking the initiative. But in the serious astrology, it's in house 2. So hopefully some good news or a sense of reassurance around some recent concerns about finances can manifest for you. But what about that moon position? I think it's possible that if you were attracted to someone that someone close to you wasn't quite as convinced by, your enthusiasm for this particular person may be met with a little bit of coolness, to be honest. But then again, maybe a relationship's been developing in a slower way, and someone in the family may be very supportive to you. So I just think you've got to listen to your instincts, and I think this can be quite fortunate for you if you just go for it, knowing that not everything works out in life, but if we don't try, we won't know. And we can sit on the sidelines, sitting on our hands playing safe, but life can be very dull doing that. So sometimes we just have to go for it. And I think that's what this event is for you. Go for it. Even if it's giving yourself a glorious makeover, because I feel that will do your confidence the world of good. Now, Taurus, of course, Venus is your ruler, but this event occurs in house 12. Have you been having a lot of thoughts about the future potential longevity of a particular involvement? If you and the other person have been discussing things in a really honest and psychological way, I think this event can actually be really beautiful, because it can help you to see how far you have both come. Because with the sun in your 11th house of the future, just cautiously urging these two on, perhaps some note of reassurance or some door that maybe has felt a little closed in the connection can spring open. But it is possible, undoubtedly, with Venus in the 12th solar house, that relationships can come to a close. Perhaps it's around your finances that you need to think too, Taurus, because Venus conjunct Jupiter is asking you to be much more cautious because it's the 12th house rather than uber optimistic. You know, if you put this in the 5th house, that's the sector of risk. The 12th house is the sector of withdrawing and just considering your options. So if you're not sure about something to do with money, don't feel you have to go for it just because this is supposed to be that mythically lucky event. Gemini. Now the combination between Venus and Jupiter is in the part of your horoscope to do with your network, your friendships, the collective. You're pretty skilled in this area anyway, and because the sun's in a very prominent part of your situation, it may be that some fortune for you can unfold in your professional situation, just as much, quite frankly, because of who as much as what you know. But certainly your sparkling wit and charm are going to be turned up to max. What's not to like? Cancer. For you, the combination of Venus and Jupiter is in house 10. Very much to do with your connection to the wider world. If you're having a job interview, doing a presentation from the 27th of February through to the 4th of March, I think the way you come across can be very impressive. Just be aware of that Mercury-Saturn conjunction. If there is a financial dimension to what you're discussing, they ask that you're critically exact in what you present. There is the potential for exaggeration with Jupiter, as you probably know. And Venus, you know, it's a very, very warm in influence. Jupiter, of course, is exalted in your sign. So I would just say that if you're having some kind of important discussion around a professional situation, don't promise more than you can realistically deliver. Just let your natural personality, authority and leadership skills shine out on their own merits. Now, Leo, for you, this event occurs in house 9, very much to do with expansion, adventure, potentially independence. But if you're traveling with someone you're very fond of, this could turn out to be a really uplifting experience. And it can be any time from the 27th of February to the 4th of March. So if you're just breaking your routines, you know, going somewhere different for a meal or for a lovely walk, or you're visiting a museum or going to see a play or a band, all of that's really blessed by this particular combination. Now, Virgo, for you, this is really interesting because Venus and Jupiter are cooking on the proverbial gas that none of us can afford in your 8th house, which is as, well, steamy as it can get. If you're lucky enough to be loved up, particularly with the sun in your 7th house, and it's really going well, whoa, this event can really lock you together in quite a sensual and long-lasting embrace. In fact, it could last nearly a week. So even if you're one of those Virgos who doesn't like to have too much deflection from your orderly patterns, I think you may be surprised that there could be some really wonderful opportunities to draw closer at a more intimate level. But seriously, if you're grappling with your long-term financial situation, there could be good news around some kind of legacy. An insurance premium may go down unexpectedly. If you have some shares or assets, they may appreciate unexpectedly. Libra, of course, Venus is your ruler too, and this combination are in your 7th house. As I said to you in my year 2023 forecast for you, a lot of energy is pouring into the sign of Aries this year, and it's all going to be very helpful to you, along with the solar eclipse in your sign later this year on the 14th of October. So the way you come across it, which is often very classy, can be really your refinement can be even more effective. So whether you're having a business meeting, an interview, or meeting someone for the first time, they're likely to be wowed. Which brings us to Scorpio. Now, of course, your sign has a reputation of being A lot to do with lust, desire, and intimacy. And I'm sorry, I think I can hear laughter around the world. Well, okay, you have had experiences of that, even if you personally aren't experiencing those things at the moment. So perhaps you need to rethink to make yourself more available and less cynical that this can't happen for you, Scorpio. But seriously, you've got the Sun in house 5, brilliant. Uranus in 7, things can happen quickly and unexpectedly. The Moon in 9, change up your routine, have some variety. And yes, Venus and Jupiter in house 6, which seems very kind of docile, not very sexy at all. But that's it. It could be in a completely routine situation that someone really woos you. Which brings us to Sagittarius. Now obviously Venus and Jupiter, your ruler, your sole domiciled ruler, in a conjunction in your 5th solar house. It don't get any better. This is the sector of true love, marriage, glorious affection, enjoyment. But it's also the 5th house is about risk. So if there's someone you're really drawn to and you don't know what to do, perhaps this is the time to be more bold and decisive and go for it. Now, of course, the position of the Sun in the 4th house is very much to do with your emotional world, and Mercury's application to Saturn asks you to choose your words with care and mean what you say. But if there is someone that you're really, really happy to spend time with, your laughter, your immense knowledge that you feed into situations. I get about this with my wife all the time. She just knows so many things. It's been so instructive for me to be with a Sagittarius person. And so if you make someone laugh, or you tell them about your adventures, or you do something that's really a bit different or action orientated even, round it off with a nice meal. So if you do have a date across these days, whether it's with an existing partner or someone different, it could be a lot of fun. Capricorn, for you, this combination occurs in your sector of the home. Have you been working on making some changes around your abode? If you have, I think you can start to see it come together and you can be jolly pleased. If you're looking to add to your family, I think this is a very important event. I can't promise it, but Venus and Jupiter, when they're together, can be helpful to conception. So the 4th house is family. The 3rd house, where the Sun is the 3rd house. Is this time to invite people around to your newly refreshed, refurbished and gloriously decorated abode with your new furnishings and play mine host? Why not? And of course, Saturn, your ruler, is being joined on the same day, the 2nd of March, exactly by Mercury. So maybe money has been an issue, maybe things have been a bit stop-start over the last couple of years, but if you have made some significant changes to your sense of comfort and security within that, you should be very proud of what you've achieved. So Aquarius, Venus and Jupiter together in your 3rd house is very much about your words. Now, you can be an ace communicator at the best of times, so this just adds a little bit more charm. Now, of course, your traditional ruler, Saturn, is joined by Mercury today for the last time in 27 years. So if there's something you want to say that really means a lot to you, whether it's about a business idea you have, whether it's about a creative talent you're generating, whether it is somebody you fancy, you can choose just the right way of conveying your message, and someone can be very, very impressed by what you have to say. Pisces, now of course Jupiter is your ruler and Venus loves being in your sign, and you have the Sun feeding them in a 60-degree semi-sextile in a productive way along with Chiron. If ever there was a time to feel better about your self-worth, it's through this event. Even if you don't have much money, do not compare yourself to others. Yours is a sign that has a huge range of skills, assets and capabilities. But it could be, of all the signs, that you do enjoy some financial fortune on this event. Now, the Moon, of course, is in a square to the event, but it's actually in your 5th house. I think this could mean that, if you're very close to your family, you might, for example, want to invite them around and really spoil them and do something really lovely, buy some gifts. But if you're getting to know somebody, I wouldn't shower them with too much generosity just at this stage. Get to know them a bit more. And of course, with Mercury stationing on Saturn, there could be a sense still, a little bit of insecurity, low physical or emotional energy that may inhibit you from embracing this event as much as you could. But very soon, next week, Saturn arrives in your sign, and you're probably feeling that, particularly if you're born right at the start of Pisces. You're feeling that your life is changing forever, and there will be some significant decisions that you've got to make. So don't see this as a frivolous event. See this as an add-on that can indeed add value to the more profound things that you're dealing with. But you still can have some kind of beautiful connection just as much as everyone else. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do comment or like and subscribe.